We begin with breaking news from the far northwest side. Tonight, one man dead, another in the hospital fighting for his life after a shooting. This is at the Grand at Dominion Apartments on Bernie Stage Road off of I-10. That's where San Antonio police say one roommate threatened the other. That led to shots fired. Still too early to tell what exactly led up to the shooting. We have a crew on the scene. Stay with us on air and online as we get new developments in this one. Nearly 7 years after the Sutherland Springs shooting that killed 26 people, today was supposed to be the last day that the site of that shooting was open to the public. The old white building you see here. But as the Night Team's John Paul Barajas reports, a temporary restraining order put plans to demolish the old First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs on hold.
We're not here to keep the building or destroy the building. We're simply doing this because we want the survivors to have their opinions.
The white former sanctuary has stood as a memorial to those lost, but also a painful reminder of what happened that Sunday morning in Sutherland Springs. The dispute over the vote to tear it down is why the building will stand for a while longer. Plans to demolish the building on hold due to a temporary restraining order.
Their lawyer is already aware.
So they're aware of the situation?
Mm-hmm. The lawyer already called my lawyer.
Do you know what that discussion was like or what was said?
No.
But as far as you know right now, everything is put on pause.
It's supposed to be.
Amber Holder and her daughter Amy Crowder have filed a lawsuit against the church. In August 2021, the congregation voted 66-33 to tear down the sanctuary turned memorial building.
Some of the people here didn't even know that this church existed before the shooting, and they all got their say. And I don't think it's their opinions that necessarily matter. I think it's the survivors and the victims' families.
Crowder and Holder say many survivors and victims' families are no longer with the church and believe some of their memberships were removed, so they did not have a say in the matter. Holder says some of those directly impacted in the shooting have reached out to her.
Anybody that has been in contact with me, I have not heard anybody that's against it. There was one person that has been publicly outraged by what I'm doing that is a survivor, and he is against it because he nearly died here that day. And in his words, I was shot to hell. I understand.
Monday, KSAT obtained an email that was sent out by the church pastor that says the final days to visit the memorial were Monday and Tuesday because of plans to demolish the building, but a demolished day was not listed.
I was furious. It's a holiday weekend, and you're giving them a 3-hour window for each day. That's not right.
Now, when I asked Amber Holder how many survivors are upset with the building being torn down, she couldn't give me an exact number. A hearing on the restraining order will be on July 15th, and we have called and texted both the former and current pastors of First Baptist Church. The former pastor didn't want to comment since he says he is no longer affiliated. We did not hear back from the current pastor. Steve?
John Paul, thank you. Will it be problems for neighbors on the south side? The city of San Antonio wants to put a 2-mile buffer zone around the Toyota plant. That would limit new development in the area to commercial and industrial use only. It's a controversial proposal. It's not popular with a lot of the people who live near Toyota. Some of the concerns that were raised at a recent hearing include the potential impact on home property values and residential restrictions. Well, the buffer zone decision could happen on July 16th. The city is trying to sell neighbors on this idea. Tonight, a community input meeting held on the Texas A&M University campus. Our KSAT crews were there, and we heard from neighbors firsthand about their concerns with what this would mean for their homes.
I'm so very much against it, very much against it. It really restricts what I can do. I can't even build a separate home for one of my children to live on.
They are going to try to tell me what I can and cannot do with my property. And at the meeting today, they just said that Toyota owned their property, so they can do whatever they want with the expansion because they own their property. I own my property too.
You can hear the frustration in those neighbors' voices. You can read more about Toyota's proposed buffer zone and what the next step is right now on KSAT.com. At 37 years, that's how long this man will spend in prison. A judge handing that sentence down to Celedino Saldana today for attempted capital murder of a police officer and 20 years for aggravated assault of a peace officer. Those sentences will run concurrently. Saldana fired at officers back in 2022. They returned fire. He was hit. He's now paralyzed from the waist down. Saldana must serve half of his sentence before he will be eligible for parole. Staying inside the court now, a judge has denied a motion for a retrial for this woman, Miranda Cáceres. She was convicted of starving her 4-year-old stepson. Back in April, Cáceres was found guilty in the death of Benjamin Cervera. She was sentenced to 25 years in prison. In court today, the defense attorney told the judge important medical records were not given to him by the DA's office. On the other side, the state argued all records were available and the defense didn't do their job in looking for them. A convicted sex offender who was escorted into a city park by BCSO deputies now being accused of violating the sex offender registry. Court records show Xavier Lopez was arrested last month for failing to report his home address. We first told you about Lopez back in May after KSAT investigates revealed he was let into Tom Slick Park as deputies searched for a missing mother and her son. Lopez was part of a rehabilitation group that provides sports drinks and water to law enforcement at scenes. SAPD investigators found out in March Lopez was not living at the address he listed on the sex offender registration. A warrant for his arrest issued in May. She was shot in the back. A woman is dead tonight after what the Bexar County Sheriff's Office is calling a domestic dispute. Deputies found the woman in her 30s face down on the floor of her apartment on Woodlake Parkway near Seguin Road. As we said, several gunshot wounds to her back. We're told her husband is the one who called 911 from a nearby convenience store. He said he shot her in self-defense. BCSO also told us the couple's young child sleeping in another room of that apartment at the time of the shooting was not harmed. Just a little while ago, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office sent us a video of that suspect. This is 34-year-old Roger Conaway. He was taken into custody shortly after he called 911. As we said, he is now charged with murder. We also want to take a moment to remind you, if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is help out there. We have a full list of resources on our website, ksat.com/domestic violence. Just scan this QR code on your screen and it will take you to that page.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
The president did not look good, did not refute the many lies of President Trump. I salute President Biden. I just feel that it's time for him to step aside. He delivered us from Trump then. He could be delivering us to Trump this year if we have more of what happened last Thursday.
The fallout continues tonight after President Joe Biden's performance in the first presidential debate. The president appearing to lose his train of thought during that debate against former President Donald Trump just last week. You also just heard Texas Representative Lloyd Doggett asking the president to step aside. It is the first time a Democratic member of Congress has made that call. In a statement earlier, Doggett said in part, quote, President Biden's first commitment has always been to our country, not himself. I am hopeful that he will make the painful and difficult decision to withdraw. I respectfully call on him to do so, end quote. Meanwhile, the White House defending the president, calling his debate performance the result of a bad night. Today, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said it's fair to ask if it really was a bad night or signs of a condition. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre actually spoke to the media about that today.
As it relates to, something like a cognitive test, to the question that you're asking me about what the speaker, former speaker said, obviously she can speak for herself. His team, who has said, the medical team said it is not warranted in this case.
That's what Jean-Pierre had to say. What President Biden should do, also dividing two San Antonio mayors. Former Mayor Julian Castro posting on X shortly after 8 tonight, praising the president's accomplishments, but calling for him to withdraw from the race. 5 minutes later, current Mayor Ron Nirenberg posted defending Biden and writing, quote, I'm proud to stand behind @Joe Biden's positive vision for the future, end quote. I wrote a little bit more about the history these two mayors have with Joe Biden online right now at KSAT.com. Also want to let you know later this week, the president will sit down with ABC News' George Stephanopoulos for his first interview since the debate night. Clips of his exclusive interview will air this Friday, July 5th on World News Tonight. The full interview will air on Sunday, July 7th on This Week with George Stephanopoulos.
Fresh update from the Hurricane Center regarding Hurricane Beryl in the Caribbean. It's going to make it to the Gulf of Mexico this weekend. We'll talk about what our rain chances hinge on with that and what's steering it and where it could go in just a bit.
All eyes down there. All right, thank you. Let's not forget July 4th, just a couple of days away, and you're going to want to know where the best spots are for watching fireworks. We've got you covered on KSAT.com. Just scan the QR code on your screen for a complete list.
The San Antonio Spurs are a foundational part of this community's identity, and we want to make sure that the Spurs have a bright future in San Antonio.
All the talk about the silver and black returning to the downtown area have only picked up. Is a downtown arena in the offing. Next on the Nightbeat, you're going to hear what Mayor Ron Nirenberg has to say about where the city stands on a new arena for the San Antonio Spurs. Lots of discussions and rumblings about the Spurs and whether or not they have a future in downtown San Antonio. The discussions have only grown since the announcement was made that the Institute of Texan Cultures would no longer reside near the Alamo Dome and the Tower of the Americas. Today, Mayor Ron Nirenberg joined us on the news at 6:30 for our KSAT Q&A segment. We asked him about where the city is right now on building a new downtown arena.
We're also looking out into the horizon and seeing that there is a potential opportunity to bring the Spurs back downtown. So we are obviously interested in having a comprehensive conversation about how that could all work. But as far as speculation about any kind of deal that's been arranged or anything like that is purely speculation.
That just a portion of our KSAT Q&A segment. We talked more about the Spurs with the mayor, along with how the Supreme Court's ruling on homeless bans will affect us here in San Antonio. You can watch the full interview with Mayor Nirenberg right now on all of our KSAT streaming platforms. At Bexar County and San Antonio, leaders have been preparing for hurricane season for months. They encourage you to always have a plan for any major weather event. Tomorrow on GMSA at 9, we're going to take you to the Emergency Operations Center in Brooks. It's activated during hurricanes and other severe weather conditions. Here, leaders from the different organizations and hospitals can strategize and prepare for activations like during Hurricane Harvey, Laura, and Ida.
Say that an event happens and a hurricane enters the Gulf and it looks like we're going to receive some evacuees here. This place will fully become operational. Everyone that you can think of that may be impacted by or may be needed in those operations will come here, from the fire department, the police department, the sheriffs, all the hospitals.
Tomorrow on GMSA at 9 a.m., tips on how to stay safe before and during flash flooding situations. Texas officials urge Texans in coastal communities and visitors heading that way to have a plan ready for potential impacts. By the way, that said, we want to know, do you have any plans to visit the Texas coast this holiday weekend? You can vote in our poll on ksat.com/poll, or just scan the QR code on your screen and let us know where you're heading. We'll be checking results tomorrow on GMSA.
I think they need another category there. Whenever your fishing buddies tend on leaving.
yeah, that could be like, well, then yours would be like what, Port Mansfield, all those things,
or go to Bird Island, stuff like that. But it's short notice. These are some retired guys who like to fish and short notice.
Okay,
so short notice could be an option. Anyway,
we'll write that one in for you.
No, you won't. And nor should you. I want to talk about Hurricane Beryl, okay? Because this is, of course, the big topic of conversation, as it could impact the Texas coast in a number of ways. But here's basically the quick, easy breakdown. It's going to be over the Yucatan Peninsula. Think Cancun as a Category 2 on Friday. Saturday, it emerges into the Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm. Then Sunday and Monday, still a lot of uncertainty regarding its strength and path, but it's narrowed down to basically making it into South Texas or Mexico. Here's the latest. Category 4 hurricane, well-defined eye right here just south of Haiti, headed straight toward Jamaica, impacting Jamaica throughout the day tomorrow, and probably weakening a little bit as it interacts with the island of Jamaica. Thereafter, makes it to the Yucatan Peninsula as a Category 2 hurricane by Friday. And then once it hits the Yucatan and interacts with land, Then, of course, it weakens, and it'll weaken quite a bit, likely into a tropical storm. So once it emerges into the Gulf of Mexico by Saturday, we're talking a tropical storm. However, it's my experience that these systems often do re-strengthen as they move through the Gulf of Mexico. And notice the forecast path here by Sunday. Anywhere from basically Matagorda Bay to Brownsville to about 300 miles south of the Texas border. So really anywhere within that forecast cone, we could see that hurricane or tropical storm end up. Now here's the overall steering flow. Upper level high, big blue H, we're all familiar. It's moving eastward. As it does that, it's going to open the door for this system to move into the Gulf of Mexico. Notice Friday, right over the Yucatan Peninsula, doors open to push it into the Gulf of Mexico. And then the question is really, how far east does that upper high go? The farther east it is of Florida, the more likely it would be to be steered into Texas. But there's also another wild card here, and this upper level high over the Four Corners would be basically pushing against it and creating a little block right here in the atmosphere. So what we're watching, basically the placement of these two systems and exactly where they line up as we get into the upcoming weekend. Our rain chances, right now 20% Saturday, Sunday. That's mostly because a weak cool front will be dropping into central Texas. By Monday, due to the potential of Beryl impacting us, we bumped them up to 30%. Obviously, this is subject to change. And if Beryl does make its way into the Texas coast, our rain chances would significantly rise as we get into the Monday, Tuesday timeframe. It's just there's such a big spread of possibilities at the moment. And unfortunately, it's still too early to tell. You did notice the haze in the air today, Saharan dust. It is thinning out a little bit and will continue to thin over the next couple of days, but then it's going to come back with a vengeance, and you'll really notice it by late Saturday into Sunday. You see this more dense area, that dark brown? That's the thicker dust. That'll be here Saturday night on into Sunday morning, so prepare for the extra haze in the sky again at that point. 78 in the morning, 92 at noon, 99 the high temperature. A lot of sunshine tomorrow. You know, today was our 10th 100-degree day. Obviously, we could do it again tomorrow with that forecasted high of 99. So 99 right near 100. But then we trim off a few degrees into the weekend. A little extra cloud cover. 96 on Saturday, Sunday 94. And with the potential of Beryl, we have to drop those temperatures down into the lower 90s, even if it's just a result of blow-off clouds high in the sky. And by the way, 4th of July, more of the same. Fireworks time, we're talking temperatures right around 90 degrees and winds gusting up to 25 miles per hour. So basically what you would expect any and every Independence Day in South Central Texas. Live cam right now does show a little bit of that haze in the sky, but nothing too noticeable. But again, the thicker haze will come back into play by this weekend. You'll notice that Saharan dust.
All right. Thank you, Adam. All right. There's more evidence tonight of just how popular the WNBA has become.
Oh my goodness, yes, about 500,000 more voters in participation to show us that. The WNBA All-Star roster was revealed. We'll show you the roster and the difference in voting from last year. Plus, Spurs Stephon Castle impresses at Summer League practices. We're also talking MLB, BGC, and more right after the break. Welcome back. Starting off your sports tonight with Major League Baseball, the streaky Rangers hosting the Padres. Nathaniel Lowe's second two-run homer of the game puts Texas up big in the third inning. Meanwhile, Nathan Eovaldi allowed just one hit in 7 innings as Texas shuts out San Diego 7-0. Game 2 is tomorrow night. Much closer battle between the Astros and Blue Jays tonight in Toronto. Former Astro George Springer blasts a 3-run bomb to put Houston in a hole early. Yordan Alvarez would help close that gap later, but the Astros would fall 7-6, their second loss in 12 games. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are set to team up on the WNBA All-Star team when they face the U.S. Olympic team led by Asia Wilson and Breanna Stewart in Phoenix in July 20th. Clark and Reese were selected this evening by votes from the media, fans, players, and coaches. Here's the full roster. Now quickly look at the difference in fan voting totals from last year to this year. Wow, 500,000 difference. That right there is the Caitlin Clark effect. The San Antonio Spurs front office said they'd had kept close tabs on 6'6" guard Stephon Castle when he was in high school. So it had to feel very rewarding for both sides when Castle put ink to paper on his rookie deal today. The terms were not announced. In San Antonio's findings throughout Castle's career, he's a perfect culture fit, a proud and effective defender with his shooting just waiting to be fully unlocked. The coveted fourth pick impressed his summer league coach and teammates this morning on day 2 of the Spurs summer league practices.
You know, he's a stoic person. He's even-keeled. Any mistake he makes, he doesn't really show it too much. Any good play he makes, he doesn't show it too much. He's even-keeled, which is a good thing.
He's aggressive, and that's what we need. Like, we got a couple of aggressive guys in our team with the Spurs now. So we got Jeremy, we got me, we got KJ. So we got warriors in the team.
We'll see more of Castle and Sissoko and beyond when summer league action begins in Sacramento on Saturday. 4-star dual-threat quarterback Ty Hawkins announced today he is transferring out of Johnson High School to go to IMG Academy in Florida for his senior season. The TCU commit accumulated about 4,300 passing yards, 54 touchdowns, and just 12 interceptions in his career at Johnson. Hawkins said in a statement, "It's bittersweet to leave, but it'll be a great opportunity." Countless alumni from IMG Academy went on to play in the pros. After the break, NISD says happy retirement to their legendary athletic director. In 2014, Jim Streety ended his high school coaching career as one of the winningest football coaches in Texas history, amassing 537 wins at Madison and New Braunfels, respectively, across 4 decades. From there, Streety's legacy in public education only grew stronger when he went on to serve as the New Braunfels ISD athletic director for the next 9 years. Last fall, Streety announced his retirement at the end of the year, and his official last day was on Sunday.
The favorite thing is all of the great relationships that I was able to form and enjoy and continue to enjoy over that time. I would put that ahead of any moment, any victory, anything like that. Is just the great relationships that came my way from all of those years.
The Smiley, Texas native was inducted into the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame in 2018, then the San Antonio Sports Hall of Fame the following year. Streety will certainly be missed in the local sports scene, but maybe more so by those used to seeing him zooming around on his golf cart.
They haven't offered me a key to that golf cart yet, and it looks like they're probably not going to. But again, that's how you show kids and coaches that you're interested in what they're doing.
That's a good takeaway. Streety's way to connect with players and coaches: get out there on a golf cart. They really should give it to him. I vote give him the golf cart.
Yeah, exactly. He needs like an honorary golf cart or something like that, you know.
Or a plaque on it, Jim Streety.
There you go, the Streety golf cart. Thanks, Mary. We'll be right back.
Here's a look at the spaghetti plots, some of the computer models that we look at, especially in the longer range, just to get a sense of the options. And now they're clustered a little south of Brownsville, but remember, it's the trends in these that we'll be watching.
Definitely. They keep going north, a little farther north, a little farther north.
Back and forth.
Yeah. See you tomorrow.